Hi there, JJ. This is Michael. Thank you for completing your speaking practice test. I am Michael from bettertoeflscores.com. I'm going to listen to, evaluate, and give you a score on this practice test. So I actually have the IBT rubrics here, and let's get started. There is what you're recording, and you also actually practiced and wrote the script out. So let's see how you did on this.
If I had to choose between the two types of vacation, I'd honestly prefer staying at home rather than traveling because it's cheaper and safer.
Good. So first of all, you have the introduction along with your two key points. So each paragraph will focus on those areas.
To begin with, due to the pandemic of COVID 19, economic inflation has kicked off.
Now, has kicked off. Yeah, that's a little bit informal to say that. Let me think about another way to say that. Due to the pandemic of COVID-19, the price of everything these days. Notice you said has present perfect, but then for some reason you went to the simple present here, but I'm going to say has skyrocketed. And then maybe we can combine these two sentences to give you a little bit more advanced grammar. Let me show you this. If you write out some of your practice tests, you can get some feedback at least by Microsoft Word. Let me show you this. So you can see where you are right now with your vocabulary and your grammar level. So right now you got 18.6 average words per sentence. Vocabulary is a little bit low, 4.3 words per character, or characters per word, I should say. And then your grade level here is 9.1. So how about this? What if you take this idea, hence skyrocketing. And I'm going to say that hence skyrocketing travel expenses for those people wanting to vacation. I'm going to put this travel expenses in here, which goes back to traveling and how it's more expensive to travel, so it's better to stay at home. To be more specific, in order to travel by a car, I have to pay more than $50 to refill in your SUV. Are you sure it's only $50? I pay like 80 something dollars just to fill up my Corolla right now, but maybe gas is more expensive. I'm going to put to refill to refill the gas in my SUV, even the price of flight tickets. I'm going to put has more than doubled. I think that's a better way to say that. So even the price for the flight tickets has more than doubled. In addition, I think traveling these days can be detrimental for our health. How about this? When you talk about this idea, you might say, for example, you can say, for instance, or even to illustrate, even case in point, you could say. For example, when I went to Cancun for a summer vacation last year, nobody there wore masks. That's why I would say that, not worn. So nobody wore masks, so I didn't even have the minimal protection from the virus. Also, we had to get a COVID test every single time before getting on the flight, which was a very invasive and painful experience. See, that's the problem. I don't know that I would bring this up. I would stay focused on the minimal protection thing. How does that relate to your health? So you have the when I went to Cancun for summer vacation last year, nobody there wore masks, so I didn't even have the minimal protection from the virus. To illustrate, one evening we decided to dine at the restaurant by our hotel, and I was surprised that no one in the establishment was wearing masks. Fortunately, so I would probably do something like that. Fortunately, my family and I did not contract COVID 19, even though we had put ourselves at risk. Right? So all I'm saying is try to stay with the same idea there when you're developing. You are using concrete details this time around, I think, which is good. Okay, let's see how you answered this particular topic. So I made a few changes in what you said, right? Okay, let's listen to it one more time.
If I had to choose between the two types of vacation, I would honestly prefer staying at home rather than traveling because it's
Okay,
cheaper and safer.
good.
To begin with, due to the pandemic of COVID 19, economic inflation has kicked off. In other words, the price of everything these days are skyrocketed. To be more specific, in order to travel by a car, I have to pay more than $50 for once refilling the gas in my SUV. Even the price for the flight tickets is at least doubled. In addition, I think traveling these days can be detrimental for our health. When I went to Cancun for summer vacation last year, nobody there wore masks, so I didn't have even the minimum protection from the virus. Also, we had to get COVID tests every single time before getting on the flight, which was a very invasive and painful experience.
Okay. So I made a few changes into what you said. So I think overall though you have a good response. You had some problems with your verb tenses. If you go to Google, you can take or how about this? Type in these keywords: the simple present versus the present perfect verb tenses. See if you can get a general idea of the difference between these two verb tenses. The present perfect verb tense, JJ, usually we start by talking about an action that begins in the past. I have lived in California for blah blah years, right? So it starts in the past, but it connects to the moment of speaking or the present. So I think that's why I changed some of what you wrote into the present tense there. I made a few changes in your topic development. I made some changes with your language use. I think that your pronunciation was excellent. It was very clear the way that you read it. You varied your tone and all of that. So I think that's good. I'm going to put your score at maybe 23 to 25 points on this one. So it might not get the 26 because of some of the changes I had to make in the response.